My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. All right, so you've heard of real estate, especially been hanging around this podcast for a while. You've heard of Bitcoin, but have you heard of combining Bitcoin with real estate? Well, today's special guest, Dan Thompson, is doing exactly that. He's zooming in from beautiful Boise, Idaho, and Dan comes from the background of financial planning. He's also been very involved in real estate for quite a few years. He's actually been involved with crypto for a while as well, and insurance. And latest thing is, he's also a developer. He's a builder. So Dan, I think we're going to have an interesting conversation. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Dave. This will be awesome.
Okay, so let's kind of jump right in and keep it, grade 4 level for dum-dums like me, Dan. So, we were talking a little bit offline. You're doing some interesting stuff combining real estate and in life insurance and crypto, Bitcoin mining stuff. So my mind's already boggled. Kind of unwrap that for me, will you?
Okay, yeah. Maybe just real quick backstory. I started as a stockbroker in '86 and realized after the dot-com boom and bust in the '90s, I had to find a better way. So that's kind of what is motivating
my brother
me.
was in financial planning for many years, and he went through like 3 of those kind of things before he pulled out
I
of that.
remember I think I was in the business 3 months or 6 months when the '87 first, Monday, Black Monday happened. I go, wait, they didn't tell me this could happen. So since the dot-com boom and bust, I just really wanted to find a better way. And the best way I found was just alternatives. Sitting there in mutual funds and hoping and praying. I just didn't really like that. So got involved in all kinds of different things. We do oil and gas and real estate and equipment leasing. And I kind of focused on how to save a bunch in taxes. And obviously real estate can be a nice tax haven with the depreciation and the cost segregation and all that stuff. So we kind of went pretty heavy real estate wise. What we also found is that if you use your life insurance policy to fund your real estate or other investments, you're kind of double dipping and you get a little best of both worlds. And eventually that policy can send you some tax-free income down the road as well. And it gives you some protection. So there's some good benefits for using your policy as a capital account. But as we got into real estate, my partner and I, we built a student housing complex at Texas A&M. And obviously with real estate, you're always wondering, how can you produce more cash flow?
Right.
And so he pops up and he says, well, I've been Bitcoin mining since 2014. And I said, well, I've been trading it. I've got a bot that trades it and stuff like that. He goes, oh, no. You need to be mining it. And then of course I went and did some research, looked around, and I kept seeing, well, mining used to work, doesn't work now. And every 4 years there's a Bitcoin halving and it's tough on miners and all the negative. Long story short, we started talking about it, how you overcome those negatives. And what we found is that if we added a Bitcoin mining company to our real estate, we produce more cash flow. We have 2 assets working for us. And eventually we can use the assets from the Bitcoin to leverage into more real estate if that's what we ultimately want to keep doing.
Okay, so let me unpack this a little bit more there, Dan.
All right.
So again, we're going to dumb her down here for Dave. So you've got the student housing. That's one thing. You've built this thing, and then you've got the Bitcoin mining is a separate thing within the same entity or in the actual building.
Oh yeah, good question. No, we own it in the same entity, but you need to house your computers, your miners, in a very strategic way. We now have hydro-cooled containers. We're building a solar plant for power. So yeah, you couldn't just go throw this in your basement or in one of the apartments and have any success.
Okay, so basically, you and your partner have created a company, an LLC, or however you've set it up, and it's got the property, the student housing is part of that, and then a completely separate property is where you're doing the Bitcoin mining. You're getting all that set up with the super cooled whatevers and all that kind of stuff, which I mean, I kind of have an idea, but I haven't really seen it. And it's all within the same company. Okay, so I get that. So now how are you cross pollinating and making that all work? Like why not have completely separate companies?
Yeah, well, the student housing company or the student housing, it's called the Mods. Again, it's at Texas A&M. And so basically it just owns the LLC that owns the computers. And what that gave us an advantage of is you've probably heard of the 179 deduction when it comes to buying equipment or cars in a business. So that allowed us to write off the cost of the computers, and they
Ah,
funneled down with the mods, so it added more depreciation and more tax benefits for us to do it as a, as one company,
as
so to
part
speak.
of yeah, as part of the
Yeah.
real estate deal. Okay, now it's all kind of making more sense for me. Thanks for slowing down
Yeah.
there a little bit.
Well, then what happened
Yeah.
was we're like, you know what? This is a great idea. And I'm sitting there going, I got thousands of clients across the country, a lot of them with cash value in their policies. How could we incorporate something like this? And we really didn't want to start a fund. We didn't really want to manage money. So what we started doing is building mining companies for investors.
So done for you mining companies.
Done for you mining companies.
Okay.
So our clients just say, "Hey, I got, we try to do about 250,000 in terms of a minimum, but we can go a little lower than that." But they come in, we set it all up. Their
So
computers
you
go
can
into,
set up a whole thing for 250 grand?
yeah,
A whole
yep,
mining company. Okay,
whole mining company.
what does that physically look like just to get my pea brain around that?
It looks like right now at the current cost, well, actually, I shouldn't say this too much because the tariffs are making
Oh
us a
yeah.
little bit. But normally
Tell
that's
us about
about
it. But anyhow.
normally that's about 12 miners producing about a, I'm going to say a very conservative number. We should outperform this, but about a 40% return a year
So what
on
is an actual miner? That's a computer. That's a computer, correct?
just a specially made computer that's high, it's they call it terahash is what it
Yeah.
really is. So you're getting the compute power to be part of the blockchain so that you're getting rewarded for being part of the blockchain in Bitcoin. And
Okay.
I know, whoosh.
Yeah. No.
Um,
But I'm getting it. All right. So this is set up in some sort of a super cool trailer type thing or something like that. And so what are you doing for your clients to get them the property? Are they putting this on something they currently own, or have you got a bunch of land that's in the perfect spot and you guys plunk these Bitcoin trailers on them with all the equipment set up already? How does that kind of work?
exactly. These containers come all ready to just plug into power, and they hold each container holds around 200 computers, and so we just
Kind
order.
of fractionalize them a little
Yep,
bit there for got it.
yep.
Okay.
So we
So
started. Oh,
you guys own the farm, you guys own the property that you're putting all of these on, or how does that part work?
no, we actually have a co-hosting facility that's been
Okay.
around for years that we just made a contractual agreement with, and then we've actually expanded them dramatically and are going to probably outgrow them. That's why the next step is to we're in the midst of building a solar farm outside of Houston, which then we can handle tens of thousands of computers.
Wow.
Um,
That's exciting
so
stuff.
our next venture. So as we started building these companies for investors, we realized a lot of them ultimately will want to leverage their Bitcoin because the first rule of Bitcoin is never sell your Bitcoin.
Mhm.
And so the only way you can actually sell your Bitcoin, if you will, or use your Bitcoin is just through leverage. So we thought, you know what? We need a bank. So so that's our next venture right now. We're in the midst of a capital raise to have the first Bitcoin and mining fintech bank. So, so the bank itself will own about $100 million worth of miners, It'll own about 50 million in Bitcoin. And then through the manufacturing of Bitcoin through the miners, we'll be purchasing a bank and also issuing what we refer to as bit bonds, where people can take the risk off the table, but still get exposure to Bitcoin and some upside without having to directly own the Bitcoin.
All
Whew.
right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a lot. So basically, you kind of fell into this by accident when you're doing this student housing deal in Texas, and your partner kind of illuminated this, and this it's taken a whole new life on its own. Is that what I'm understanding?
A whole new life,
Yeah.
yes. And now,
Yeah.
Dave, have you ever heard of a thing called premium financing in the insurance world?
No,
So,
not
premium
really.
financing is where big investors come, they borrow money from the bank to pay big premiums in life insurance, and they amass tens of millions of dollars in cash value and in death benefit. The downside to premium financing is you have to borrow from the bank. And without
Yeah.
getting into too much detail, we're creating a bond that will actually handle the premium financing, but give an upside of, oh gosh, one, two, three, 4x on a bond that's very conservative, that's backed by some of the strongest insurance companies in the world.
Interesting. Oh, well, you weren't fibbing when you said you're getting into the whole alternative investing side of things. That's
Yeah.
for sure, Dad. So on the real estate side of things, because that's kind of what we talk about on the show, be in addition to the Bitcoin ranch farm, whatever you're calling this thing that you're building out, what are you doing real estate wise these days?
So, building the student housing, of course, and then I own a bunch of offices, and I also have a home building company here in Boise.
Hmm.
Um, I was going pretty heavy into multifamily for a while there, and then realized, well, there's a reason we went Bitcoin mining and they're so heavy that way.
Yeah.
The liquidity, the appreciation, and so forth. I don't know if you've seen this or not. You might have heard of a guy named Grant Cardone,
Hmm.
big real estate guy. His last project, he's raised 100 million. He put 85 million into the real estate and 15 million into Bitcoin. And so I was trying to tell him he he should add mining to that, and then you get cash flow.
Hmm.
The big problem with Bitcoin is it doesn't produce cash flow, but mining does. And
I
so you
see.
get a little bit better. So long story short, yeah, I mean, I've done really well in our office buildings and the student housing, and I see myself adding a mining company to every piece of property that I own. We're adding it to our home building company so that we're getting all the upside of Bitcoin plus the benefit of mining it every single month. And by the way,
Yeah.
when I say mine it, it literally comes to an app on your phone every day. You can watch your your miners make money for you every single day.
Right. And I mean, you're partnered up with these other guys that kind of do all the maintenance and all that kind of stuff of these farms, right? So that's taken care of in the background. Nobody has to worry about going and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if
rebooting
the
anything.
computer goes down, they take care of it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very, very. So when you say a done for you mining company, it really is.
Yeah. Interesting. Dan, I'm sure a lot of people listening or watching this are kind of going to have their minds boggled at this whole idea. They're going to go, I really don't understand. I kind of maybe understood what Dan was talking about, but not really. So if they want to get more information, find out more about you, where should they go?
My website's wisemoneytools.com. Just like my sign in the back with the tools S at the end, wisemoneytools.com. And there they can find my email or phone number and reach out anytime they want.
Fantastic, Dan. Well, thanks for being on the show. There's been a lot of fun.
Appreciate it, Dave. It has been fun. I really enjoyed it.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next one. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.